Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Analog Allies, episode 9. According to the title, I was under the impression that it was 8, but it's actually 9. That's pretty much the only reason Brett's here, is to keep all that in line. I'm your host, one of your hosts, RGT, joined as always by Brett. Brett, how we doing?
Doing pretty good. Same old thing.
Fuck the Knicks. I am sick and tired of Tom Thibodeau. I just killed you made me kill the monetization on this.
Yes, just like last time.
59 seconds. So thank you for that. Shout outs to the channel members in the building: Gingerbread Tiger Woods, Pickle Rick, Brandon Christian, Regular Nintendo, DC Fat Cat. Thank you guys for being channel members. Of course, channel members get access to a bi-weekly, as in once every 2 weeks, Q&A, which we will be filming this upcoming week. So if you haven't asked questions in there, get your questions in. And of course, you get access to the after show. We appreciate all the support. We actually have quite a few interesting things to talk about, specifically game related things. So we're going to start things off with my thoughts on Assassin's Creed Shadows after about, I think I'm like 11 or 12 hours in now. Brett, are you picking this up or no?
I have it downloaded on PS5 because Brett bought it, so I didn't have to. But I don't know if I'm going to get to it anytime soon.
So I never played Valhalla. And that's all I have to say about Assassin's Creed Shadows. So what's your next? No. I never played Valhalla. So I'm a little bit lost in like what's now commonplace in Assassin's Creed games. I don't hate the game. I don't hate the game at all. But I do have to question anyone giving it a 10. Because to me, and like I get it, Gingerbread Tiger Woods gifting 1 membership to the stash. If you are now that member who got that stash membership, make sure you thank Gingerbread Tiger Woods. A game that's a 10 in the modern era needs to be something revolutionary, needs to be something special, needs to be best in class. And I don't see that from this game. I think the game has some good parts to it. I think the game has some laughable. I have literally laughed out loud at some parts of the game where I'm not supposed to be laughing. The voice acting has to be some of the most inconsistent, to where it sounds like 30% of the people are trying to do, like, for lack of a better term, an English accent, like just turning the L's into R's. But then people aren't doing that in like the same town, and it's kind of like, well, wouldn't everyone speak the same sort of dialect that lives within this town? It's so, and usually I don't care about things like that, but it is so jarring. Even now, the main female character in the game, she sounds like bored half the time and like kind of in between accents and stuff like that. I've heard the Japanese dub is much better, to just have the Japanese voice acting and then read along. I'm here to lead, not to read. But yeah, like the voice acting is definitely very suspect. I do like the gameplay. I do like the combat. I think the combat is super fun, very satisfying, some very cool kills and stuff like that. The stealth is very well done. It feels like an extension of like Tenchu. I will say I'm playing on the normal difficulty. The NPCs aren't quite as smart as they possibly could be, especially on a normal difficulty. I feel like they would chase you a little bit more, but I mean, Assassin's Creed has always had kind of, out of sight, out of mind NPCs, as far as the enemies are concerned. So a little bit of leeway with that. But there's definitely like elements of Tenchu, hiding in the shadows. You can lay prone, you can crawl prone, hide in the tall grass, do stealthy assassinations. I really like that. I like games like Tenchu. I like games like Splinter Cell. I like games like Origami. Very strange how the character that was promoted so heavily going into this doesn't really play that big of a role. Like I said, I'm like 10, 11 hours in. You start the game out with him for about 30, 45 minutes. I haven't seen the motherfucker since.
Yeah, I heard that he pops in like way late in the game and then he becomes more of a main character like way later.
Very, very strange. And I've seen a lot of people say that like his story elements and stuff are kind of forgettable and stuff like that. But I'll be honest with you, it is fun as fuck playing as Yasuke. Like, you are a fucking battering ram of a big old motherfucker, just chopping people's heads off and like fucking these little dudes up and shit. Like, it is super fun, but it's like, can I have a little more? Like, can you sprinkle in a little more? Shiny Shady Boy with a $2 dono. Appreciate you, broski. NPCs won't climb on buildings. That's not cool. I will say the building climbing is very the climbing in general is kind of strange. It seems like they rely more so on the grappling hook to get you to a spot where normally your brain would be like, okay, well, I can crawl up this somehow, some way, like you could in most previous Assassin's Creed games, at least the ones that I've played and I'm familiar with. So there is a bit of an adjustment period to that. They don't climb up walls, they go up ladders. So that's kind of something, I guess. But there's just, I mean, the pacing of it isn't very good. Like, the tutorial system can be very jarring, and then they reteach you stuff after they've already taught you stuff. The story, I have no idea what's going on. I go into the past, I go into the present, I go 2 years into the past, I go 6 months into the past, and it's like, bro, just fucking the RPG elements, like, they're fine, but they're kind of, it's kind of outstanding, especially with like a ninja style game. Like, I don't feel like it needs to be, I know this might sound weird, but I don't feel like it needs to be like so open-ended as to how you can customize your characters and, level locked weapons. You have to be this level in order to use this weapon that you got like earlier in the game and stuff like that. Like, that's, I don't know. It kind of takes me out of it a little bit. I don't think the game is bad, though. I know a lot of this probably sounds a little bit nitpicky, and, maybe it is. I don't think the game is bad. I think, if I were to score it based on what I've played now, I'd say like an 8 or so. I think it's fair. I don't think this game, like I made in my video, this game's not going to save Ubisoft. Like, they announced that they've gotten 1 million players thus far. They're not selling Valhalla numbers of this.
That seems a little low, honestly. Like, after how much people have been waiting for them to go to Japan, they held off all this time. And you might remember there was that quote where they literally said they were waiting to go to Japan when there was a dip in sales.
Right.
And they're here, and I don't think it's that big of a deal because we've gotten other games like Ghost of Tsushima, Rise of Ronin, like all these Japan games now, and this isn't that different anymore. But I don't know. Maybe it has a long life. Like, maybe it has legs. It'll just keep selling like crazy. Like, maybe it end up doing crazy numbers.
But that's the thing. Ubisoft games have long legs because they go on steep sales immediately.
Yeah, and true.
I don't necessarily think, because to me, this is a game that if you're not a fan of Assassin's Creed, you're not going to all of a sudden like this game. And I know I'm friends with people that all of a sudden are big Assassin's Creed fans when this game came out, but I really don't think you're going to like this game because it's still very Assassin's Creed at its core. And it highlights some of the worst elements of it with like the needless micromanaging, the needless menu systems, and all that sort of stuff. I will say I've seen some people like throwing around like gay scenes in it. Or like you could make romance options and you could choose to do a gay scene. I think it's kind of weird to complain about something that is a choice. Like, there are gay people in the world. My cousin, my first cousin, is gay. So
You're
like,
gay.
I mean, wow. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if it was mainline and like you gotta do some gay stuff in the game just for no reason, then like, okay, like I could see, raising an eyebrow at that. But optional, it's kind of like, one of my
And
favorite.
it's always been in the series for a while now, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was in Odyssey. I think they first introduced that because Romans, they were some kinky motherfuckers. So yeah, it's kind of a bit nitpicky to me to like be mad about an option. I don't know. That's just me. You might feel differently. But like overall, it's a fine game. It's not game of the year contender. I think the peoples that are giving it tens have some sort of like guilt or something. Like maybe they like beat up an Asian or a black guy and like this is their way of being like, I'm sorry, I messed up. Here's a 10 for this game that features an Asian and a black guy or something. Because it doesn't excel in any way, shape, or form. It's solid. But it ain't Black Flag, pal. It ain't Black Flag. It ain't Black Flag. Like,
nothing ever will be.
I'm sorry, but if you're a fan of Assassin's Creed games, I think you'll like this game. The graphics are fucking really good. Like there are times where I just like kind of soak it in, and I'm like, wow, like the weather effects and stuff, very, very nice. So
have you like switched the seasons and stuff and seen like how different it makes the map? Is that cool?
Well, sometimes I've noticed if you die on a mission. Oh my God, there is a huge fucking spider down here. Oh my God. 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 I need a vacuum cleaner.
A vacuum cleaner for a spider? How is it? Is it that big that he has to go get a vacuum cleaner? Like this is Ghostbusters or something? Like this is Luigi's Mansion? He has to go grab a vacuum cleaner to take care of a spider? Just smash it. Just get a napkin. Come on, Sean. He literally left the pod. But yeah, I'm not playing Shadows right now. I'm not that interested. It looks cool, but
Show yourself.
Valhalla and I don't know. A bit of Assassin's Creed out.
See you in hell, motherfucker!
Oh, he has a little portable vacuum. That makes a little more sense. Cammy in the chat said, keep the spider alive. It's alive in that vacuum. The question is how long will it last? Did it jump out or what? Oh my God, I think it jumped out.
Crawled out.
Oh my God. Sean can't even hear me, so. Yeah, Sean, if for people who are just now joining, Sean's trying to kill a giant spider, but he's vacuuming in it instead of smashing it. Sean, don't ever do that in front of a woman, ever. But yeah, it's kind of dead air right now, so I guess I'll just keep talking about Assassin's Creed. Yeah, I don't really care about the controversy. It doesn't actually seem that crazy or anything. It seems like people are just literally finding a second of the game to be mad about, and it's like this is like a 90-hour game. So who the hell cares? I don't know. Sean, you're alive.
I put the hand vac outside. So if he wants to, fuck all y'all. This thing was huge, like this big. I think it was a brown recluse.
Dude, those are small.
No, they're not. They're big and they're poisonous.
I thought they were small.
No, brown recluses are big, bro.
All right, let's take a look. No, they're small. They're like this.
No, they're big.
I mean, compared to some other spiders, they're small.
Dude, he was huge.
Was it a wolf spider?
No, it was a brown recluse. It's poisonous. It would have killed me in my sleep. But see, that's the thing, Deathbulk. He's not the main character. I kind of wish he was, because he's fun to play as, but he's not the main character.
Well, sooner or later, you're gonna have the option to choose who you want to take into certain.
But even then, when people talk about it, when people talk about the game, it's like his story elements are pointless, and the story itself is. I don't. Fuck you, Kami. Pickle Rick with a $2 donation. My wife said she'd have the same reaction. Bro, I don't like bugs. I don't like spiders. I
Yeah,
don't
they
like
suck. I hate centipedes, dude. Those gross me out.
you know what? I really hate moths. I hate
Really?
moths.
I don't
Yeah.
hate them that much.
DC Fat Cat says get ortho home spray defense or home defense, ortho home defense, and spray the door jams. This is actually the first bug of like besides like a fly or something that I've seen in his house since I've had it in like 3 years. So that's pretty good. No, that's what. Oh yeah, I hate horses too. No, that's what I'm saying. Death Bulk. He was promoted as the main character, but he's not the main character.
And you don't think it's possible that he becomes more the main character later
But
on?
even if he does, which I know he plays a bigger role in the latter half of the game, he's still not the main character. The story still doesn't revolve around him. It just tells his story as like a separate thing. And it does intertwine, but you can't do any of the parkour stuff with him.
Yeah.
So you have to like play as Naue. So I don't know. The marketing of the game was fucking terrible, just atrocious. But you know, I don't think it's a bad game. You know, 7s, 8s, maybe a high 8 if you're really a fan of, you know, historical Japanese stuff. Okay. Once you start talking like high 9s and 10s, I got to look at your stank guide.
Yeah.
Brett, what's your topic?
My topic. Xbox recently posted a promo image that was a mock-up of a future UI overhaul for their mobile, PC, and console Xbox. This is an Xbox ecosystem. And they accidentally included a tab that said Steam on it, which has made a lot of people believe that maybe their next console will have some type of Steam integration. Maybe you'll be able to essentially play your Steam games on the console, due to the rumor being that it's just going to essentially be a Windows PC in the form of a console that has its own UI and feels like a console when you boot it up, but will still have that option to have Windows options like Steam and Epic and all the stupid launchers on PC. So this could essentially mean that the next Xbox, that's rumored to come out in 2027, could play PlayStation games or any games that are on Steam and not on Xbox, like, or on the Epic Games Store. Like it could potentially happen. And Sean doesn't think it's happening. So tell me all about it, Sean.
Okay, so let me bring up the picture first and foremost here. This is a professional show.
Yeah.
Let me bring up the picture. So here's the picture in question, showing recently added, installed, owned, Game Pass, Steam owned action adventures. Okay, so first off, my question is, why am I afraid of a little spider? I'm not 4'11" Necro Banana. I am 5'10". Brett is the short one here.
I'm very short. It's a secret though. Nobody will ever know how short.
Bro, this was a spider that kills humans. Like a daddy long legs, sure, exist. I don't give a fuck.
Daddy long legs are like the least scary.
Why does it say owned twice?
Maybe it means
If you can logically explain why it says owned twice,
maybe the Steam tab is Steam, like the store front, and then the owned is your owned games on Steam. Boom, gotcha. What's next?
But that doesn't make sense.
Why not?
Why would it? Anyways, if there was integration with
Benny,
Steam,
who just said hi.
If there was integration with Steam, I don't see I see PlayStation blocking their games.
So here's the thing. I thought about that, and it made me think, can PlayStation even do that? Like, it's technically just running a Windows PC. They wouldn't even know what it's running on.
Like, I feel like,
and I don't think Valve would be okay with that. You know?
But PlayStation is providing their game to Steam. PlayStation could come back and be like, well, okay, if this is going to be how it's going to be, then our games are no longer going to be on Steam. We're going to use our own launcher. And I know you said, oh, people don't like that. People will do it for PlayStation games. People do it for Epic exclusives.
Dude, you say that PC gamers will download a PlayStation launcher to play those games. They cry about having to sign in to PSN on Steam.
Yes.
Do you see all the outrage?
Yes, you can block games based on Windows version ID and or hardware. It's possible. Are you calling Stefan a liar?
I mean, I haven't read the facts, but I believe him. But I don't know why they necessarily would. To be honest, like they're just selling games, and it's not like this is going to cause PlayStation's hardware to slow down in sales, all because you can play some old PlayStation games on Steam.
If it's day and date, we're getting closer. You are thinking of current PlayStation. The new head of PlayStation has said he wants day and date PC games before he was the head of PlayStation.
I mean, for all we know, maybe a reason why like PlayStation is going to be okay with this is because of the fact that Xbox has a lot of control over PlayStation, considering they have the biggest games on PlayStation's hardware.
But that's out of necessity.
I'm just saying, like, Xbox is in control when it comes to all that money that PlayStation makes. So let's say like PlayStation blocks Xbox players from playing Steam games on their Xbox. What's stopping Xbox from stopping like providing games for PlayStation?
Because Xbox is not in the driver's seat. PlayStation is in the driver's seat.
I mean,
PlayStation blocks their games to run via the cloud on Xbox as well.
We're also 2 years away from next gen, and you've seen how generations can flop when it comes to they flip flop. It went what you're pointing.
You're planning for the next generation now, not in 2 years when it comes out. And you're having to go to PlayStation now and say, hey, we're going to have Steam on our next console, and all your games that you put on PC, The Last of Us Part 2, Days Gone Remaster, Horizon, all those games that you have on PC, yeah, they're going to be able to play on our new console.
But like what is there to lose with that is what I'm saying. They're going to still make a sale. And I truly don't think PlayStation is worried about the hardware race anymore. They're worried about selling games just like Xbox.
Not to that point. If that was the case, they would be porting their games to Xbox. If that was the case, you would see more ports of PlayStation games to Nintendo consoles.
We will see
You would see PS4 games. You would see Uncharted trilogy come to Switch too.
But that's kind of stuff I truly see happening with Switch 2. I think PlayStation will support Switch 2.
PlayStation didn't want this. This is recently, within the past, couple of years. PlayStation didn't want cross-platform play because PlayStation is what, Brett? The best place to play your games. Not an Xbox.
I'm just saying it's a weird world we live in now.
It is. But I don't see that happening. PlayStation is too in their own ways. They're too in their own ways. They don't want things like that. But see, MLB isn't because of PlayStation. MLB is because MLB said, "Hey, fuckers, you need to put this multi-platform."
Isn't what's it called? There's a JRPG that's coming to Switch that's PlayStation owned IP, but it's being published by someone else like Koei Tecmo or something. What was it? It used to be a Vita game. Freedom Wars.
Oh, it's being ported by Bandai Namco
but that was licensed by PlayStation because they own the IP. So I'm sure they'll get a cut of some sort when it comes to that game.
Well,
Freedom Wars.
I have a copy of Freedom Wars right here. This is only
game
on PlayStation. It's because it was Japan Studio, which no longer exists. So they probably did something with the IP, and Bandai Namco picked it up. This is Sony Japan Studio. Yeah, Bandai Namco is doing the release of it. I think it might actually be out. Now, PlayStation is not going to play ball with this.
There
They're
was
not.
one thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, never mind. But yeah, I don't know. I just wonder if they maybe play it out and see what happens, or if they just straight up block it. If like someone could play The Last of Us or Spider-Man on Xbox via Steam, if they would just completely block it right at the beginning, or if they would see, oh, we made a bunch of money and we didn't see any decline in our hardware sales. So
No.
because I feel like at this point, everyone is kind of like stuck in their ecosystem, you know?
PlayStation is not going to let Microsoft make money on their games. It's a matter of principle.
Microsoft wouldn't make a dime. They would just only make money in we know they don't make money off hardware. It would just get people into their ecosystem and maybe spend money elsewhere. But Xbox wouldn't get any money from playing The Last of Us on
Why wouldn't they?
Steam.
So they're not going to make any money on the Steam games?
Not if someone buys The Last of Us 2 on Xbox, I don't think they're going to get a cut of that.
Why wouldn't they? It's on their system.
I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong. Does Microsoft currently make money from people buying games on Steam on Windows 11?
Yes. Why wouldn't they?
I didn't think that was a thing.
Wait, why would an Xbox game that's sold on Steam make money for Xbox?
I said a PlayStation game.
Oh, okay. So run that by me again.
Okay, if someone buys an Xbox and they buy The Last of Us 2 on Steam on the Xbox doesn't get anything from that purchase. You know?
I don't know the terms and conditions of what they're going to be for Steam being on Xbox.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Steam is just open to be on any type of, like, it's an open platform at this point, right?
Kind of.
Like you can put it on different OSs and whatnot.
Kind of. You can access it through different OSs, but it's still a little wishy-washy. Regardless, I don't know. I just don't. It doesn't make sense to me.
It is kind of funny, just in general, though, that they uploaded it and then deleted it. Like that is funny.
I think they just had a shitty ass intern who put that up. They probably said make an image, and then they just messed it up. Well, see, that's the thing, Blizmo. Like the rumor is that the next console is essentially just a Windows PC branded as Xbox.
And the next handheld, like the little handheld thing they're doing.
Right.
It's just an ROG Ally branded as an Xbox, you know?
Well, then there's the other one, too.
Yeah, the full-on Xbox one.
Because you can't take your library on there. I don't know. It sounds too far-fetched. Sounds too crazy for me. But it could happen. I don't foresee it happening, but it could happen.
Honestly, I think when it comes to hardware sales, I feel like I think Xbox hardware would sell average like the next Xbox, but I think the one thing that would maybe get people interested is if they had access to Steam on that hardware. So then they could, I don't know, like use their Steam library on it or their Xbox library and their Steam library if they play both, you know.
On the next Xbox?
Yeah, like I feel like that would be like one of the few things that would get people to buy the hardware. Not saying it's going to be in droves,
but then you have to factor in like price and stuff like that, because you got to imagine you're going to have to increase the price of the system because now you're not using a proprietary operating system. You're using Steam. You're relying heavily on Steam with this. So that's going to cost licensing fees. And then you have to factor in just the raw hardware side of things, because this has to be essentially a computer that you control with a controller.
Yeah, that just like boots into its own unique OS, which is, I'm assuming, what we're seeing right now.
Which
its own
you
UI.
Can do already.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. But it would be like Xbox's new UI that, if this were to be true, it brings together your Windows library that's now branded as the Xbox library on PC, then your actual Xbox library and your Steam library, and essentially all the other launchers on PC. It could combine them all.
Nick 93 with $1.99. Tom Thibodeau is is Jack the Ripper. I think he's a member of ISIS, Hamas, whatever the new one is. Hamas, I think it's called. Al Qaeda. I need the FBI to look into Tom Thibodeau immediately. Congratulations, Bronny. All right. So my next topic is Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. Came out today. I was not one of the cool kids who got an early copy of it, but I did play for 7 hours today.
Jesus.
Yeah. And it's great. It's great. I love this game. I think it's so enjoyable to go back to this, and some stuff I remember, you remember it as you're playing it, some stuff you don't, but it's just such a joy. It's such a joy because like the story is fine. I don't really give a shit, you're here in this new earth. Oh, there's weird alien dudes. Oh, what's going on here? It's kind of by the numbers, but the exploration just top notch. Just top notch. The exploration is so much fun. And I'm even really loving the combat too. Usually with Xenoblade games, I just wish they were ease. But like, I don't know, it seems to be clicking better with me this time. And like I'm figuring out the arts and when to use them and stuff like that, and which ones I want to use and stuff, and the timing of them to get the bonus thing. So you get the little circular thing where you got to time it right to give your team a health boost, and then like overriding the arts with the little other meter where you can do additional stuff, waiting on the cooldown system of it. And it looks fucking better than ever.
Dude, I saw that there's like a hidden possible switch to 60 FPS thing in the code or something. I just glanced at it. Is that what it was?
You didn't watch my video?
I didn't. Rare. It's a rare miss for me.
Absolute piece of shit. So, yes. They found 60 frames because the game is not 60 frames. The game actually has a weird fluctuating resolution and stuff like that. I will say the frame rate, the performance is much better than the Wii U version. On the Wii U, this game really felt like your Wii U was going to catch on fire at any point in time. You had to like download a texture pack to get like better textures in the game and stuff. Whereas this, the draw distance is much better. Everything looks better. It is kind of weird to see that the frame rate, or not the frame rate, the P fluctuates so much, because I haven't really noticed that, because obviously I mean, nearly of my 7 hours, my entire time with the game has been in handheld mode. I have not played it docked. Probably.
Are you on the OLED or no?
Yeah, I'm on the OLED.
Nice.
And I think it looks fucking great. Like I have really no complaints about the visuals of it. But yes, there is a 60 frames per second mode that was discovered in the game, and it's weird because if it wasn't supposed to be there, if you were just testing it, you don't leave that in.
Yeah.
There's no point. There's no point in that being in there unless you're going to do something with it, which it did take Xenoblade for me to dust off the Switch. I haven't touched my fucking Switch in for that's a lie, because I've been playing Resident Evil Revelations kind of off and on the Switch just because I have it on there. But it's very interesting to see that, because now it kind of opens up the potential for game upgrades, and it kind of goes back to the video I made, I think it was Sunday, talking about a Switch 2 upscaling patent was recently updated, and it showed an image of essentially taking a 540p image and upscaling it to 1080p. And of course, many people just went with, oh, well, that's for the Switch 2. But it's like, if you're having to make, like, I could see like maybe like very graphically intensive games dipping to something that low, but I don't feel like that should be commonplace. 540p especially in handheld mode and lower, was commonplace
Yeah.
on the Switch. And so I almost felt like that patent update wasn't a glimpse at the Switch 2. It was a glimpse at the Switch 1 games and how they're going to operate, and then seeing something like a 60 frames per second mode that doesn't work on the standard Switch. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. When it comes to Xenoblade, I am really excited to play this, but I'm playing a lot of games right now, so I'm probably going to wait. And then once I saw that it might have like a Switch 2 patch, that gives me more reason to just wait for the Switch 2 and play it on there.
Well, I mean, you can. It's a huge game. Like, the story is like 70 hours long.
Jesus. Well, yeah, they're all hell long.
And if you want to complete everything, we're talking like over 200 hours. So it is a very, very meaty game, and there are a million different side quests. There's online stuff where you can team up with people and stuff like that. Like, there is a lot to do. They've actually added in additional content into this as well, story content and stuff. So it's even longer. It's a game that will last you, quite a bit. I do kind of wonder though, with things like a potential 60 frame per second mode on the Switch 2 and the upscaling stuff, like what effect is that going to have on battery life? Because I do feel like that could be something that that could hinder it, quite a bit, because that's on hardware side of things.
Yeah.
So I do wonder, but if you've never played, you don't need to play other Xenoblade Chronicles games. You especially don't need to play Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in its ugly ass 300p in handheld mode. To enjoy this game, it is its own independent story. Yes, there's callbacks occasionally to other things, but it's definitely not necessary. It's very futuristic. There's a cool little city area, and there's a little home area where people like live in big houses and stuff like that. A million different missions, and some missions, not all missions are created equal in it. Some of them can be simple things like scout this field or something, kill this one enemy. But then it's just so, and I really like, and I understand it's kind of a staple of Xenoblade, but it seems a lot more prevalent in this one, where it's just like, if you veer off to the wrong path, like you could die fucking in 2 seconds, because there's some fucking level 45 enemy just waiting for you, and like maybe you can run away. I've managed to run away a few times, but yeah, it's a great game. I love the game, and they supposedly added in more callbacks according to Corey in this. Well, I mean, I'll probably miss out on it because I don't remember really shit about Xenoblade Chronicles 1. And you know what? I wanted to tell OJ, I didn't play the definitive edition, but I played the 3DS edition because I bought the new 3DS with that game on day fucking 1. So you can suck my ass on that.
I wonder what resolution that was at on 3DS.
Oh man, it was rough. It was rough. It was not a great time, but it was still fun. I mean, especially because you had a console game in the palm of your hand. That was
back when it was very new.
Especially a Nintendo console game. Like, you're like, whoa. It was like, with shit like Revelations, and
I was just about to say that.
And
that
Metal Gear Solid 3 and shit on there. Like, it was crazy, especially if you're just looking at Nintendo. If you were looking at PlayStation, I mean, it's a bit more commonplace on there, but still with, the PSP and the Vita. But yeah. I highly recommend Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. I think it is a great swan song for the end of the Switch, because it's a game that it feels different. It feels really good. Nick with the $1.99. Assassin's Creed Shadows looks really good on the PS5 Pro. I did see the comparison shots between the PS5 and the PS5 Pro, and that was very interesting to see the difference of it. You know,
Yeah, I have to check that out.
how long before Xenoblade X opens up? So it's really not that bad. I would say like 3 or 4 hours you start to get, because really what it boils down to is like you're gonna be walking a lot at the start, and there's a lot of story stuff and talking and shit like that. But once you start setting up the different probes, giggity, in the ground that essentially allow you to fast travel to places, that to me is when the game starts to open up. And then you have like a second opening up once you get to the skells, but that's like 30 plus hours into the game. You know, I believe when I played it on the Wii U, it took me like 40 hours to get there. Granted, I do like to dick around and do side missions and stuff, but once you start to put down the probes and stuff, I feel like the game starts to flow a lot better because you have that fast travel ability, and you've probably been at least maybe not exactly there, but you're closer to it than you would be if you were just starting out in New Los Angeles and then walking out of there.
Yeah, I'm super looking forward to that. One reason is because Xenoblade combat is very strange in the way that it kind of works like an MMO where you just sort of stand next to the enemy and they attack automatically.
Right.
And I know that Chronicles X uses like guns, and I feel like that would feel way more. I don't know. I just think it fits better to do that with guns than it does to do with swords and stuff.
You don't have to use guns. I use guns because
Yeah,
I
I
think
want to
guns are
use
cool.
guns.
But so like, okay, so you'll get into a battle, and your character will start shooting their gun, and then you're waiting for an art to build up. And then when the art builds up, which isn't very long, you could then do like a special attack with the gun, but you could switch between your gun and a melee weapon at any time. So after you do a gun attack, maybe you could stagger the enemy with a melee attack. So then you switch to a melee weapon, you use a melee art, and then bam, you could do that. Now, you don't have to switch to your melee weapon. If you choose a melee art, it'll automatically switch to your melee weapon, but then you'll be using your melee weapon after that. So, it balances out like that. But there's a ton of different weapons, a ton of different play styles that you can do. From what I remember, I'm doing the exact same style that I did on the Wii U.
You're doing what you're not supposed to do with RPGs because you should have like a new experience, but you also want the same experience.
I want
that's
the
what
same.
Everybody does. Yeah,
I want the same. I will openly admit it. I want familiarity. I remember this. This is fresh to me, and it's fun. I'm definitely remembering a lot of things that if I didn't play it, I wouldn't have remembered like certain story elements and certain events that happen. But I love the exploration. I think the exploration is just it's so good. And there's always that fear because the enemy types, so like there's different types of enemies where you'll see like a level 50 enemy, but it's just chilling. It's not gonna bother you. But if it's got a little red mark above its head, that means if you come across its line of sight, it'll attack you. Whereas the enemies that don't have that, they're not going to mess with you unless you mess with them. So that always adds that little element of danger and kind of, okay, let me see if I could skirt around this massive fucking thing. And I love the enemy designs in the game. They're essentially like weird prehistoric creatures, especially like the big ones. Pickle Rick with a $2 dono. Do you ever think we'll get WoW on Xbox now?
I just recently heard a thing.
Go on.
I was listening to the Xbox 2 podcast that Jez Corden is on, and he said at some point, what's their name? Blizzard and Xbox had a team created to mess around with the idea of putting WoW on console, but he doesn't know if they're still doing that or what the deal is with it. But he did say at one point there was a small team of people who were trying to work on a console version of that game.
Interesting. I've never played WoW. So yeah. Can you run away mid battle? There's not like a prompt for it, Medallion, but you can. Like just put away your weapon and start running. Your teammates will die, but then they'll come right back to life once you escape it. But you might die in the process. But you can run away from battle. It's just it's not a traditional like run command or something like that.
You know what I kind of like that Xenoblade does?
What do you kind of like?
I mean, I think it does. I'm pretty sure.
Here
I'm not
we go.
confusing it. Like when you're done with battle, your health just regenerates back to full.
Yes, it does.
Like there's a lot of games like Persona and stuff where like after a battle, if everyone has low health, you have to use a bunch of your magic or a bunch of your heals to heal everyone in the party. And I'm like, come on, just heal them.
Yeah. No, they do. You can you do automatically heal after battle, and it's very nice. And if one of your teammates gets downed in battle, they still get experience.
Yes.
Even if they're dead at the time of the defeating of the enemy.
Yeah, that's so much better. All right, my last topic. Let's talk about that GameCube controller.
Sex, baby.
The FCC filing suggests the Switch 2 may get a GameCube controller. However, I know most people are talking about maybe this means GameCube games on Switch Online through emulation. That would be cool. But for me personally, the most exciting thing that this could be potentially hinting at is a new Smash game. Because we know they love bringing back that GameCube controller when there's a new Smash game.
Smelly ass Smash players need to
Smash,
move the fuck on from the goddamn GameCube controller.
I did. I use the Switch Pro controller, but I just know Nintendo always re-releases the GameCube controller with a new Smash game. And if I know you don't like Smash that much, so for my topic, what I think we could do is talk about characters we want to see in the next Smash, because I love Smash.
I think. Excuse me. I think
ask the chat. Sorry.
I think with Smash, where do you go?
Yeah, that is the question.
Where do you go? Like, I feel like you've done what you can with the current style, the current tech, the current not enemies, the current roster of characters. Like, I think you gotta scorch the earth and like do a whole new game, and I don't know that people would like that.
Yeah, like the one thing I had in mind was for the next Smash, since they just did Ultimate, and it literally is like the ultimate Smash, has all the characters, all the content. So for the next one, like you're saying, people might not like it. Maybe they make some type of fundamental change to the mechanics that makes it feel new and exciting. And I also think maybe they just freshen up the graphics and do some type of different style for it.
You don't think that they could do Super Smash Brothers Ultimate Deluxe with all of the DLC on
Switch 2?
On Switch 2. That to me seems like the move.
But then, like, what has that team been working on lately? Like for the past 5 years, you know?
Chilling.
Just chilling.
I mean, fucking look at Retro.
Yeah, I mean, they chilled for like a long ass time before they even started on Metroid Prime 4.
Cristobal, member for 32 months. Appreciate you, broski. The Wavebird controller is one of my favorites. Do you guys like the Wavebird? I enjoy it.
I love the Wavebird. I used it so much.
Kami with a pound? Euro? €1. Thank you, Kami. Yeah, that's what I foresee happening. Because you got to remember, especially with like licensing issues, there is a timing element to how long you can have those characters licensed. So to me, it makes sense to start out and have this be your Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at the launch of the system.
Yeah, that'd be smart. And it would just like bring the game, like breathe some new life into the game.
Breathe some new life. You'd have all the characters. Maybe Nintendo throws in, a new mode or something, like
a story mode.
Embassy. They put in an embassy mode or something, and then they throw in, maybe a new character or two or something like that. That's kind of how I foresee it happening with this, because I really think Nick with a 99-cent super sticker. Appreciate you, Nick. I really think that like you've gone as far as you can with the current way you're going. Because really, I mean, this is Smash Ultimate is really based upon the principles of Melee. It's just
Yeah.
more characters, more stages, more this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, it's just Melee expanded.
Yeah. It's so good though. I just played it last night. I'm gonna probably play it tonight too. I go through phases where I play online, and it is just a masterpiece. One thing I would love though, like with the Switch 2, is maybe if it's capable of 4K, maybe just get it a little more crisp running in 4K. Maybe add some new textures to the characters. Then I'm good with that. But it would be cool to have new characters as well. Like I personally would still love to see like Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil. I think that'd be
Never
awesome.
happened.
Okay, never mind.
You can't do a mature character.
Snake, Bayonetta.
I guess maybe it could. But what are you going to do with Leon?
Dude, he has all types of different guns and stuff, and he like does flips and stuff like through the lasers and everything.
I think if you're doing Capcom, you got to do fucking Devil May Cry.
Yeah, that would be cool. Dante like was in PlayStation All Stars. Remember that?
PlayStation All Stars. Who greenlit that?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I hated it and liked it. I liked it because it was similar to Smash and it was fun, but I hated it because people were such spamming, more like idiot, annoying people online when you fought people.
But isn't that how they are on Smash?
No, not really. Like you can't really spam, and like if you're fighting someone who's decent, like they know how to like learn like how to maneuver all your spamming, you know.
I don't see them doing like a new Smash that's just an evolution. I think you gotta scorch the earth, and then people are gonna be pissed because the roster is gonna be so much smaller. Because you're not gonna be able to implement all that. You don't have the building blocks with that. You know, Smash, fucking from Melee to Wii to Wii U, building blocks to Ultimate.
Do you think there's any universe when it comes to the licensing of the characters that Nintendo has licensed to use those characters in that game for the foreseeable future, like pretty much forever? And maybe that's why they wouldn't make a sequel, is because they only have the licenses for those characters in that game, so they could port it and be allowed to use them.
I don't think forever. There's no forever.
Yeah.
Except their first party IPs, but beyond that, forever doesn't exist. It's tough to say how long the licenses are. I would assume that they're solid enough to the point of where, that's why you've been able to see third party characters carry over from different generations and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't know how to answer that.
Well, is there any character that you would like to see?
Yes.
Not plausible. So just something that you would like to see, you know?
I mean, it's kind of plausible. I mean, there's always a chance that he could appear.
Who?
Because he is a very iconic character. Everyone loves him. I can't tell you how many times a day I hear people talk about him.
Rusty from Real Deal Baseball.
I think he brings a lot of versatility to the lineup. I think people would be excited for Rusty from Rusty's Real Deal Baseball.
Oh,
Garfield falling on hard times, and Rusty's here to save the day. He could throw. You think about it. He could throw baseballs. You already got a baseball bat in the game. He could swindle people out of money, and instead of out of money, he swindles them out of their life bar. Like, I'll give you this item if you give me half your health, and then there's a risk and reward with it. I'm gonna go with Rusty. I think Rusty would be a welcome addition, and hopefully coincides with Rusty's Real Deal Baseball 2. The shit just got fucking real.
I think a cool one, and he's a trophy right now, but would be Isaac from Golden Sun.
No,
because he looks awesome. I think
nobody cares about. More
I like
people care
sword
about
fighters.
Rusty than Golden Sun. There's too
Stop.
many sword fighters.
All
There's
right,
a
well then,
million sword
how about
fighters.
Knuckles or Tails? Like we need another Sonic character in there.
Nah, you don't want Tails. Knuckles, maybe. What about Shadow?
Yeah, that would be cool. He's like really relevant right now.
Yeah, people love Shadow. Like, I think Shadow would be kind of cool. But like, Shadow's kind of tough, because
Yeah.
like, I guess it would have to be
He would
modern Shadow, not the OG Shadow, because he was cool. He was a cool motherfucker.
He'd probably have to basically be like an Echo Fighter of Sonic, but still, that'd be awesome. What about Waluigi? What about him?
He's number one.
He's number one.
Um,
Zero from Mega Man would be cool.
That's an assist, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just looking at assists right now because haven't they brought an assist as a real character before or no?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't follow. I'm not like that hardcore because I shower, and I feel like,
Dude,
that's kind of a problem with the Smash community, so I wouldn't be accepted.
the most random assist trophy I think in Smash is Yuri, the main character from Fatal Frame. I forgot she was in that.
Well, Nintendo owns the IP.
I know, it's just kind of random.
So then technically,
it's like a mature
it,
horror game.
Fatal Frame came, the Lane of Blackwater came out on other platforms.
Yeah, do they own the IP still?
I don't know how that works. Fatal Frame, Nintendo. Oh.
Maybe they owned the publishing rights.
The
to
Fatal
that game?
Frame franchise is not co-owned by Nintendo, according to.
Why was it exclusive? Is it a Bayonetta situation?
They co-own. Oh God. I'm not reading all of this. You can go and you can type in what I typed in, and then what up, V-Sips? You can type in what I typed in, and then come to your own conclusions. There is a large explanation. I think Nintendo published some of them, maybe funded Made in the Blackwater, but they didn't officially own it or something.
Dude, another sword fighter though, but Geralt of Rivia would be awesome.
Yeah.
Or Master Chief. He's gonna be on Switch soon, I'm sure.
Oh God.
And we already got Banjo from Xbox because they own that IP.
I'm Banjo. Remember, they should have fucking Little Kid Conker.
Dude,
Diddy Kong Racing. I'm Conker. Not the cool
and I'm
one.
armed to the beat. Didn't he say something like that?
I don't know.
I'm Conker and I'm armed to the beat. Is that what he said? I don't remember. But anyway, I don't think that makes sense.
I mean, he's Conker.
Now I forgot the really good character I was gonna say. Damn it!
The fucking tortoise from what was the tortoise's name in Diddy Kong Racing? Turtle, Diddy Kong, Tip Tup, or fucking Timber. I'm Timber.
Armed to the teeth. That makes more sense.
Armed to the teeth. Okay. Gex maybe. I don't know. Gex is, spoiler alert, Gex is very overrated. Like, these people that are super excited for the Gex games to come back, I mean, get excited about what you want to, but I do feel like you are in for a very harsh wake-up call when you actually play Gex games in 2025.
Dude, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say we're wrapping it up.
Okay, well, one thing real quick. I think they should do another Link, but masked Link from Majora's Mask, where you play as Deku, Zora, and Goron, and just those three, and you can switch between them like the Pokemon trainer. That'd be awesome.
I don't like it.
What?
I'm not
Imagine rolling as
I'm not a fan
the Goron.
Of Zora.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm just not.
Medallion agrees. He has a Majora profile picture.
Medallion is drunk. All right, folks, we're at the 1 hour mark, which means we're going to be wrapping this up. The after show is already posted on the post area of the channel. So if you have access to that as a channel member, be sure to click that. We'll be live over there in about 5 minutes. I would thank all the channel members and donators, but Stream Yards got rid of the nice tab that used to have
Super
all of
chat.
that, where it just all popped up, so it was nice and easy to read. So I appreciate you and I love you. Nightmare on Sony Street says, man, I miss you guys. See you tonight in your sleep with a $2 donation. Thank you, Nightmare on Sony Street. But yeah, we'll be back next Thursday, same time, same channel. Thank you guys for hanging out. Good crowd tonight, a lot of good interaction, and we'll see you on the after show.
See you.